What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to 303 Streets. This is Brandon Lechuga, and today we are doing the brake pads on the Nissan Rogue. Here it is. We're gonna do the rear. They're pretty shot. They're actually really shot. And then down the road, we're gonna do the front. So, first thing you have to do, remove the brake fluid cap, because when you compress the caliper, it's gonna push fluid back through. And then really quick, we're gonna go through the tools you'll need for this job. I used a 3/4 socket to get my wheels off. You're gonna need a brake caliper compressor or a C-clamp. You're gonna need to compress the caliper. Size 14 socket or wrench. And a hammer. Hammer is kind of optional. I'll explain that. And then a socket, or a socket wrench. Like I said, the main tools I used would be those. Get the wheels off, get the bolts off for the caliper, to help get the bolts off for the caliper, and to compress the caliper. So let's go over there really quick, and I'll show you what I mean. So, as you can see, I tore apart the wheel, took off the wheel. There's my lugs. Again, the lugs might not be the same. So, really quick, we're on the passenger side. I'm going to explain something really quick. So, you're going to have two locations that you have to remove two bolts to get the caliper out. So, as you can see, I'm twisting this one. What's that, counterclockwise? Or I'm honestly not even sure. But if you put a wrench on here to get the passenger side off, you have to go up. So to loosen it, you go up. So to loosen this, I have to turn it to my right. And then on the other side, when you go to the other side, it's going to be reversed. And to get those bolts off, you're going to want to push down to loosen them. So this one to loosen them, on the passenger up, driver's side down. That's just some advice. But anyways, let's get back to the point. So you can have a size 14 right here that you can take out. You can have another size 14 right here, but this is why I recommend using a wrench and not a socket, because you're gonna need to get this off, and the socket might damage the line for the brake. So it might damage the brake line, and you don't want that to happen. So I just kind of broke mine and then used the open end side to, loosen it. And then when it got loose enough, you can do it by hand. And then it will only go so far. So when you get to that point, that's when you have to kind of finagle the caliper like that. So as you saw, up and out. So that's how you're gonna do that. And then you just set it where it's not gonna damage the brake line. And you see, this one's kind of a pain. So, as you saw, the angle I took it off is the angle you're going to put it on, because you can get this bolt out. You can get it out, but it's a little bit more difficult when you only have one hand like I have right now. Yeah, so now we're on to the rotor. I'm not doing the rotor because mine aren't grooved. I don't feel any harsh lines in it. So I'm going to leave mine because, again, I don't feel any harsh lines. But if you do need to remove it, that bolt and that bolt to get this bracket off. I don't know the exact size. It's probably like a 16 or 17 to get that off. But to get the brake pads out, you kind of just, see, this one is shot. So you kind of just wiggle them out. You can use a flat head. I just don't like to because it can damage. And again, if you have two hands, this is much easier. But look how flat these are. They are terrible. As you saw, this one had no metal pin or anything on it. And then the rear, same thing, kind of wiggle it out. And this one has a metal tab. So your brake pad that comes with the metal tab needs to go on the back side. Brake pad with the tab goes on the back, and have the tab on the bottom, not the top. It won't fit either way. So let me grab some stuff. The next things you're gonna need are obviously the brake cleaner and the pads. So if you really want to see how bad my pads are, I can show you really quick, because they are super bad. So, probably not going to stand for me. Oh, there we go. There's one, and I'll just take another one. really bad. Should have never gone to get that low. That's terrible. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna clean this with some brake cleaner, wipe it down. As you can see, a bunch of nasty stuff on there. So I'm gonna clean it really good, spray it down, wipe it down, let it dry, and then I'm gonna compress the caliper. So while this is drying, after I spray it, like I said, I'm gonna compress the caliper, and I'll take one of my old brake pads, and then this tool, or a C-clamp, whichever one you have. I like this. You can get these cheap on eBay. Kind of just goes in there. As you can see, it's open at the bottom. And this kind of just sits like that. And then I'll compress it. After I compress it, I would immediately, so you don't forget, just go back and put your cap on so you don't forget, like I said. And then from there, just reassemble it the way you took it apart. And then after that, your caliper is going to be loose. So you're going to want to go inside and pump your brakes. I usually do it 10 to 15 times just to make sure, they're gripping again and it's tight on the pad again. And then I usually do that after I reassemble everything. So the wheel, blah, 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 so on and so forth. And then, yeah, you should be good. So yeah, that's how you do the brake pads on the rear. And the reason I'm doing this myself is because I know how to do the brake pads. And then also, the dealership wanted $330 for the rear and $350 for the front, and the pads ran me 25 bucks for the rear, and the front are also 25. I'm gonna get those next week and do those. I'm all around. I don't know if you've been kind of following this build. I've been doing all sorts of stuff. Have a new windshield, doing the brake pads. I just did the spark plugs. The car actually just got a new transmission. I'll make a video on that and why I suggest to stay away from these cars if you live in the mountains or high altitude or anything like that. So I personally am gonna get rid of this, and that's why I'm kind of doing all this maintenance. But yeah, if you've been following the build, yeah, this is part of it. I was going to upgrade the rotors and the pads, everything, but at this point I'm just gonna sell it. So yeah, if you're gonna do the pads, that's how you do them. And if you found this video helpful, like, subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them at the bottom, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right, thank you for watching 303 Streets. This is Brandon Lechuga, and have a good day.